time runs out, compromises are being made, and final pushes for priorities are causing some turmoil.
And the biggest issue that lawmakers can't seem to agree on, a gun reform bill that has already passed the Senate by just one vote. Maria Lizignoli is following a protest that's happening right now by DFL lawmakers in the House. Maria, what can you tell us?
Well, Barrett, Heather, some of your DFL lawmakers are still sitting in the House chamber in protest until the gun reform bill gets heard in the House. Check out this new video we just got from 1:30 this morning. You can see a handful of DFL lawmakers sitting in the mostly empty House chamber, one even taking a rest on the front bench. The number of people sitting in has dwindled throughout the night. You can see here around 9 p.m. more lawmakers still at work, some even sitting on the floor. This comes after hours of debate last night. A motion to bring the bill to the floor failed in a tied vote of 67 to 67. But lawmakers say they aren't moving. Earlier this month, the bill passed the Minnesota Senate by one vote on party lines with DFL senators in favor. It includes a ban on semi-automatic rifles and high-capacity magazines. It's an effort backed by some families from Annunciation Catholic School. Just last summer, 2 students were killed, Fletcher Merkel and Harper Moisky. Dozens of others were injured during a shooting at a back-to-school mass. Now, supporters of the bill accuse House Speaker Lisa Demuth of holding it up. But yesterday, she said gun control legislation failed to gain enough support in the divided House earlier this session in committee.
Let's start taking up proposals that actually have some bipartisan support, that are common sense, that don't divide us.
People are dying. Let's reflect the urgency of this moment and allow this bill to get debate, discussion, and a vote in this legislative body. So let's just work together. We can protect our kids and our communities now.
Earlier this week, a spokesperson for the GOP said Speaker Demuth would not prevent a floor vote if the bill completed the House committee process. As for the sit-in, members of the DFL say they will stay in the House chambers. This could last until Saturday when the House is set to meet again.
And I suspect as the daylight starts to come up, you have more people heading back over there. Maria, thank you.
Now to the latest in a search for a man missing in the Minnesota River. Rescue efforts are set to start back up again this morning. Crews have been combing the area near Highway 41 in Chaska since Wednesday. Witnesses told investigators a man in his 30s swam under the bridge and never resurfaced. The sheriff says the strong current makes it too dangerous to send in a dive team, but they're using tools like sonar to search underwater. An Eden Prairie man will spend 15 years in prison for burning this home to the ground with 4 kids inside, including a baby. Police say the baby's mom had a restraining order against Abdirahman Abdi Abdullahi in May of 2024. He sent her threatening texts. 2 days later, footage shows him dousing a bag of clothes with gasoline and setting it on fire on her doorstep. Here you can see the man who was home at the time running with the children to escape the blaze. Everyone survived, but the baby had to go to the hospital. Abdullahi pleaded guilty to arson.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This scary moment here. That Jeep right there, that's a wrong way driver up near the North Shore. This is on 35. Yeah, you can see him dodging trucks just in time to make it onto a bridge right there. This happened Wednesday morning. The Carleton County Sheriff says that the SUV was connected to a theft that happened in Proctor. Now, deputies tried to stop the driver here, but they eventually called off the chase for safety reasons. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Dozens of people are facing charges for this controversial and confrontational church protest from back in January. The activists were arrested after they interrupted a Sunday service during Operation Metro Surge. Now the question being asked, should attorneys be allowed to see the names of the people who were at that church? A judge says they should. The attorneys for 2 Black Lives Matter Minnesota co-founders say the federal government redacted the names of every single witness. They say they're not allowed to do that in the discovery process. They claim those witnesses include the names of people who were inside City's church when protesters entered on January 18th. They went on to argue the government's evidence includes testimony from congregants who claim they were assaulted.
In the government's view, only the government should have access to the witnesses who actually saw what happened. because their fear is that those witnesses will tell the truth, that this was a peaceful protest.
Meanwhile, the head pastor of City's Church says his congregation continues to face harassment. Wednesday, he posted, "What's happening is wrong, and it's the obligation of our elected officials to punish wrongdoing. I'm appealing to that obligation." Lawyers say a judge ordered the federal government to turn over the unredacted witness information by next Friday. 38 protesters are facing charges.
Some dramatic changes could come to George Floyd Square by next year. The Minneapolis city staff has now recommended the Minnesota Agape movement vote take over the development rights for People's Way. It would let them plan and prepare that area for the next 2 years. Now, the city council does need to approve this at its June 11th meeting, but if they do, they'll work with Agape to get construction started next month. Carver County GOP is asking people to report neighbors who've moved and died in what they say is an effort to combat voter fraud.
It's spelled out in this email sent out by the Carver County GOP. Their chair says she's not sure how often the county updates voter rolls. The Secretary of State's office says the state's voter registration system is done through a continuous and rigorous data matching process done by each and every county.
We've seen in several states that there are evidences of people who have moved or incorrectly registered to vote.
And our election system in Minnesota is the safest and most secure in the country. Out of the millions and millions, the tens of millions of votes cast, there's hardly any sign of voter fraud whatsoever.
The Secretary of State says the records of voters who have moved are updated based on data from the Postal Service and DVS. Deceased voters are inactivated based on data from the Health Department, the Social Security Administration, and local obituaries. There are concerns with the system. For example, someone could tell a county person that they don't agree with politically has moved away, which could get them kicked off the voter rolls. However, those in favor say it would not only be based on what one person says, there would need to be confirmed information.
Happening now, a 24-hour tribute to Minnesota's fallen officers. Law enforcement from across the state are standing guard at the Minnesota Peace Officers Memorial. This is just outside the Capitol. Honor Guard members will also walk that thin blue line. Started at 6 o'clock last night. They'll continue until 7 o'clock tonight. And that's when a memorial service will begin honoring the hundreds of Minnesota officers who have died in the line of duty.
Well, it's already pretty warm out. It's only only 9:16. I'm getting my hours confused here, Joseph. It's going to be a hot one.
It is going to be a hot one, but even at 6 this morning, it was quite warm at that point in time as well. Let's start off with what we have going on. I'm just going to get the weather story kicked off with our satellite and radar. I threw a couple things on top too. Obviously, we have some orange arrows here. That's just a symbol that we're pulling in some warmer air from the southwest. As I mentioned earlier, we call that warm air advection. And we're just going to be blowing that in throughout the course of the day today. Showers and storms from yesterday. Did you get a little bit of rain? Like a little bit? It's now to the east, and we will not see any more for today, though I do have some soaking rain in the forecast and some storms in the forecast for your weekend. I first want to start this off. Air quality alert to the northwest section of the state here in Minnesota. And this isn't because of wildfire smoke. This is not because of ozone. It's actually because of blowing dust. And the MPCA put this into place. It's until 9 p.m. It's been dry. It's been very, very windy. There's a lot of farmers out doing some work. So blowing dust and dirt has caused some problems. They're anticipating the air quality level to drop down to potentially red, an unhealthy level today. Throw a mask on. That will really help for this type of particulate. Forecast wind gusts as we go through the day today. Yes, it's going to be stronger up to the northwest where they're going to be dealing with that air quality alert. I still have wind gusts, though, around here like 25 to 30 miles per hour. Maybe not as breezy as yesterday, and definitely not as breezy as Tuesday or earlier in the week, but still fairly strong. And it really doesn't taper down or even really die off a little bit until we get into maybe our Saturday. So most of the day today is going to be on the breezy side. I mentioned the air quality up to the northwest because of the blowing wind and the dust there. It's at a yellow level right now, moderate, but as I mentioned, the air quality alert's anticipating it to drop down, decline, deteriorate, however you want to say it, to the red level, which is unhealthy for everybody. And that will likely happen as we go through the day today. For your weekend, I have mostly sunny and 80 on Saturday. You can't beat it. It's going to be a beautiful day. 58 on Saturday night, and then we cool down to the 70s, maybe even a little bit cooler than that. Kind of depends on how everything's formed. But on Sunday, 75 with a chance for some showers and storms. I don't see anything really being a problem on Saturday. In fact, as I mentioned, a really nice day. But by Sunday morning, moisture starts creeping in. By Sunday afternoon, evening, it's here. We could see strong to severe storms develop. Heavy rains, hail, wind, maybe some warnings as well. Everything is possible this weekend. And then on Monday, it's sticking around until this whole system right here can finally pull away, but it doesn't happen until Tuesday morning. So on Sunday, we're already 3 days out. We have a slight risk for severe weather there and an enhanced risk down to the southwest. And this is likely going to change and it's probably going to get adjusted a little bit over the next few days. So I want you to be prepared for some strong to severe weather on Sunday. It's possible on Monday as well with a slight risk here in yellow, enhanced risk down to the southeast, that we could continue to see severe weather heading into early next week. All right, if we don't have severe weather, we're still going to get a lot of rain. You can see the potential precipitation now through Monday. It's upwards to like 2 inches in some spots. And if we get good thunderstorms, probably 3 inches in some spots. I think on the low end, it might just be an inch. So this is good rain that we can use. We don't really want it all at once, but it's so dry. We're so far behind from May that this will really help us out. Behind this system, we do cool down back into the 60s. So we have summer for a little bit. We get the storms and the rain, and then we cool back down to something that's going to feel a little bit more like spring for at least a portion of next week.
A little something for everyone in there. We're just hoping it's not too severe.
Storm lovers,
there you
summer
go.
lovers, and it's going to be nice and green after all that rain.
Well, that sounds nice. Yeah. Heading into Memorial Day weekend.
That's right.
Teenagers these days have a lot to navigate, and they can take sometimes a toll on their mental health.
More than 6 in 10 college students and young adults say they've experienced a mental health or behavioral health concern in the past year. And here to talk more about this concern is Dr. Abigail Miller, Chief Medical Officer of United Healthcare in Minnesota. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, you hear that 6 in 10 statistic, that kind of is shocking.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, so this is the 4th year we've done this survey. That number really hasn't changed significantly. It's been around 6 in 10. But what is interesting this year is, in addition to polling college students, we also polled young adults that are not attending college. And what we found is, you know, they too are having a fair amount of mental health concerns. However, the college students seem to be reporting it maybe a little more often than their non-college peers.
What was the main thing that stood out to you when you looked at the results of the study?
Yeah, so I think what stood out to me is that, you know, again, like we talked about, both college students and their non-college peers are both reporting high levels of mental health concerns. Another thing that stood out to me is that there seemed to be a disconnect between what parents reported their children were feeling versus what the children or young adults actually reported feeling. So again, that tells me that there is this disconnect between what our young people are actually going through and what they're telling their parents they're going through. So I think that signifies to me that we need to do a little bit better communication.
Yeah, it's some sort of disconnect. I mean, I think we've gotten a little better about talking about mental health, but how can parents have those hard conversations with their kids?
So I think it starts with coming from a place of open questions and understanding. So parents need to be open-minded to having those conversations. I think it's important to ask an open-ended question. Hey, how are you feeling today? How are you dealing with things? Versus telling them that you'll be fine, or versus trying to fix it for them. I think that that's really hard. I think a lot of parents really try to fix the problem that their kids are having. I think it's also really important for parents to, you know, reiterate that mental health is just as important as physical health. And so going and talking to somebody about your mental health feelings is the same as if you were going to your doctor and talking about a different physical symptom that you're having. And then lastly, I think it's just really important for parents to recognize that sometimes our young people are going to their peers first for advice.
So if you're one of these teenagers or a young adult who is a little bit concerned about talking to your parents about it, how can they approach it with parents who might be a little bit more saying, you're going to be just fine? How do you start that conversation for the young adults?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really important for our young adults to have those conversations. Look for a time when there is an opening. Probably, you know, it's a conversation to maybe better have face to face if possible, and talking about how you're feeling. I would also say for a lot of young adults, knowing additionally if maybe parents aren't necessarily as open-minded or you're just not sure about where to start that conversation, for a lot of people there are resources available online. So thinking about, for a lot of health plans offer virtual care. I know a lot of young people are turning to AI as well, and that can be sometimes a good place to start, but it's definitely not a substitute for actual professional help.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this information and these helpful tips.
With gas prices high, people may be turning to electric vehicles more for summer road trips. So today we're checking out the best one-charge EV road trips in Minnesota. Richard Herod from carsoup.com, ambassador, he's here with some ideas. Okay, I just got to ask about this bread right now, Richard.
Well, so part of my role as ambassador for carsoup.com is I get to sort of be the chief fun ambassador. So I was tasked with finding fun trips to make in an electric vehicle that really don't require you to charge. Many EVs now have more than 300 miles of range. So we picked Brainerd for this fun excursion. And so yesterday morning I got up and started on my way. One of my first stops on any trip to Brainerd and the like is the Clearwater truck stop, sort of before St. Cloud, right? And Nelson's Bakery has this awesome fritter bread, and well, I had huge apple fritters just like the one I was holding. And
That's like
it may have taken me most of the day to get through it, but I did. I was a champ. But literally, if you want French toast that tastes like an apple fritter, this is the fritter bread.
There we
this
go.
is the fritter bread they sell, and I have a loaf for each of you, plus for the weather, for doing the weather as well. So all three of you can make this awesome French toast. Recommend it. It's a party for your mouth. But moving on to Brainerd with the Memorial Weekend ahead, I always like stopping at the Memorial Cemetery on the way. There's actually a new museum that's going to be opening soon. So that trip's going to get even more exciting, just to sort of pay respects to our armed forces that serve our country over the years. So that's near and dear to my heart because my family is also military. But on the way to Brainerd, we got to stop at the track and check that out. You can always, find the need to take a selfie with a blue ox. Got accused of being Paul Bunyan, which I'm not gonna really argue. Not gonna argue with that. But on the way back, I was able to stop at the barn for some good hometown cooking. They still only take cash. But their cherry pie was awesome. So was the omelet. But the drive that I had that was provided by Luther Cadillac, the Lyric EV, was awesome. And
so nice when you're doing these trips that you can stop at fun places along the way. What's one of your other road trips so we can get to that this morning?
I love Duluth. I mean, seeing the North Shore, two harbors, stopping in Hinckley on the way. And again, there's so many places to stop that you can do fun things and top off or charge your vehicle if you need to. But again, my focus on this series is going to be going to destinations where you don't need to worry about charging because an EV would have enough range to get you there and back.
Okay, and you've got one more, the Southern River route, right?
Yeah, I mean, going down to, Red Wing through, Hastings, anything down south. I mean, anything involving water is totally my jam. And it's super fun to do it in a car that someone else lets me use.
What are your suggestions for charging while you're on the road?
Yeah, the most awesome part of a lot of EVs is that if you're using the navigation system, it'll tell you what your percentage of charge is at your destination and what it would be when you come back. So oftentimes the in-car native navigation will help you plan for a charging stop along your journey.
Cool.
And I had one stop the other day where literally in 11 minutes, I was able to double my range from 75 miles to 150. And so that was the amount of time it took me to eat a breakfast sandwich.
Perfect. Well, we're going to get to these after the show's over. So thank you for bringing these and for sharing those
my pleasure,
tips.
Yeah.
All right.
With gas prices high, people may be turning to electric vehicles more for summer road trips. So today we're checking out the best one-charge EV road trips in Minnesota. Richard Herod from carsoup.com, ambassador, he's here with some ideas. Okay, I just got to ask about this bread right now, Richard.
Well, so part of my role as ambassador for carsoup.com is I get to sort of be the chief fun ambassador. So I was tasked with finding fun trips to make in an electric vehicle that really don't require you to charge. Many EVs now have more than 300 miles of range. So we picked Brainerd for this fun excursion. And so yesterday morning I got up and started on my way. One of my first stops on any trip to Brainerd and the like is the Clearwater truck stop, sort of before St. Cloud, right? And Nelson's Bakery has this awesome fritter bread, and huge apple fritters just like the one I was holding. And it may have taken me most of the day to get through it, but I did. I was the champ. But literally, if you want French toast that tastes like an apple fritter, this is the fritter bread. This is the fritter bread they sell, and I have a loaf for each of you, plus for doing the weather as well. So all three of you can make this awesome French toast. Recommend it. It's a party for your mouth. But moving on to Brainerd with the Memorial Weekend ahead, I always like stopping at the Memorial Cemetery on the way. There's actually a new museum that's going to be opening soon. So that trip's going to get even more exciting, just to sort of pay respects to our armed forces that serve our country over the years. So that's near and dear to my heart because my family is also military. But on the way to Brainerd, we got to stop at the track and check that out. You can always, find the need to take a selfie with a blue ox. Got accused of being Paul Bunyan, which I'm not gonna really argue with. Not gonna argue with that. But on the way back, I was able to stop at the barn for some good hometown cooking. They still only take cash. But their cherry pie was awesome. So was the omelet. But the drive that I had that was provided by Luther Cadillac, the Lyric EV, was awesome. And
so nice when you're doing these trips that you can stop at fun places along the way. What's one of your other road trips so we can get to that this morning?
I love Duluth. I mean, seeing the North Shore, two harbors, stopping in Hinckley on the way. And again, there's so many places to stop that you can do fun things and top off or charge your vehicle if you need to. But again, my focus on this series is going to be going to destinations where you don't need to worry about charging because an EV would have enough range to get you there and back.
Okay, and you've got one more, the Southern River route, right?
Yeah, I mean, going down to, Red Wing through, Hastings, anything down south. I mean, anything involving water is totally my jam. And it's super fun to do it in a car that someone else lets me use.
What are your suggestions for charging while you're on the road?
Yeah, the most awesome part of a lot of EVs is that if you're using the navigation system, it'll tell you what your percentage of charge is at your destination and what it would be when you come back. So oftentimes the in-car native navigation will help you plan for a charging stop along your journey.
Cool.
And I had one stop the other day where literally in 11 minutes, I was able to double my range from 75 miles to 150. And so that was the amount of time it took me to eat a breakfast sandwich.
Perfect.
Well, we're going to get to these after the show's over. So thank you for bringing these and for sharing those tips.
My pleasure,
All right. In today's DIY Friday, we're getting a lesson in painting.
Yeah, and we have Roxanne Heaton, Executive Director of Minnetonka Center for the Arts, alongside artist and instructor Richard Merchant. Thank you so much for being here.
It's such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Fun topic to talk about. And I know you guys have a busy summer coming up.
We always have busy summers because what we do in the summer is we do a hugely successful summer camp program for 11 weeks. And so we have a lot of kids, 5 to 15-year-olds, all summer long, and there's still some spaces available in that program. People love it. It's very flexible because you can sign up for as little as a day or as much as the whole summer. So people like the way it works around other camps that they've signed their kids up for. So if anyone's interested in a summer camp opportunity, it's a great program for 5 to 15-year-olds.
Wonderful.
We're also in our spring session for adults, and we have some workshops left in that session that are going to happen in the next month. So if people are interested in a sample opportunity, our workshops are short duration, some of them as little as a half a day or a full day, a couple days. So if people just want to sample what it's like to take an art class, that's a great way to do that. They can see that on our website.
I was thinking about how to learn about that because painting seems a little bit daunting to me. That's not one of the things that I'm really comfortable with. So how do you get people to get over that? You have them just come in and get a taste?
You know, one of the things that we do best is we have just an absolutely extraordinary group of teachers. Obviously, I have a bias, but they're amazing, and they're really good at meeting people kind of where they are. We have a lot of people that come to us that want to learn how to paint. They've never even held a paintbrush. And our teachers are really good at getting them started and grounded in the basic skills. We also have people that are professionals that paint and sell a lot of work, and they come and the teachers can teach them every bit as effectively as the beginners and kind of all points in between. So
I love that.
Richard's painting.
He's busy
now.
over here. Yeah.
We're doing some portraits over here.
So, Richard, what are you working on right now?
Well, I'm working on a portrait of Joseph.
Oh, Joseph, come on over here.
There he is.
I was told that I had to be ready to join this, and I really wasn't ready for it.
A little surprise for you here.
I'm flattered.
Thank you.
What is the
You're
process?
a great subject. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're doing this very quickly. How do you capture someone?
Well, to your point, the best way to do it is just to break the ice, just tear into it without thinking perfection. And this class specifically is called Loosen Up.
Oh,
So
I like it.
Even for a well-trained classical painter, they're taking this class because they want to break through that all the academics and break right into the portrait and just work with a little more feeling.
Okay. Hopefully it's better than the one that I got at the state fair where they made me look like completely goofy. So make me look good at this one.
Okay, but let's talk about that. How do you, paint someone's likeness? I mean,
Well, you know.
look at that, Joseph.
I'm so flattered.
Look at that.
Wait, it's
Incredible. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is amazing.
Look it. Oh,
Are there
my
certain
goodness.
things that you focus on when you're
Well,
trying to
he
get
has
it?
a mustache and a goatee.
Oh, there you go.
So
there
these
you go.
are very
Similar to you.
helpful.
Yeah.
Look at. Look at that. You need to
I'm
get that
blushing.
and hang it over like a mantle, Joseph, and like over a fireplace and just sit and observe.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I didn't
Well, that's
anticipate
incredible.
this.
So these don't have to be perfect. You just have to try.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But yours is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think stylistically it's best if you work fast and if you kind of let go of a lot of the preconceived ideas that you have. You know, don't look at a Da Vinci or before you go paint.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Can you teach someone to do that?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
So you're saying I've got a chance.
Yes.
Okay.
To bear it.
So you can sign up for an art class just to do a self-portrait.
Yes.
There we
okay.
go.
That's
There we
incredible.
go. This is fabulous. Thank you both.
This class is very popular. It's called Loosen Up, and it's filling up all the time.
I'm going to look into
There's
this one.
another session in August. I think it's August,
Oh,
Friday,
fabulous.
August 7th. This is a one-day class, so it's a 9:30 to
workshop,
3:30, 6-hour workshop.
Okay.
So-
Wonderful.
It's better for me to
So
say,
cool.
can you teach me to do this?
Thank you both so much for being here. And you can find out all this information on Minnetonka Center for the Arts website to check out their upcoming classes and events. It's going to be good. You can jam out this weekend at the 3rd annual Minneapolis Air Guitar Competition.
Yes, and here to tell us all about is coordinator Kim Verbrugge and Rob, the Lost Heartbreaker Neckaniki. All right, we're so glad to have you with us this morning. This is a lot of fun to talk about. Kim, we'll start with you. How does the competition work?
The competition works, you can sign up at Route 47 or Minnesota Air Guitar. We have the contestants come on, they do their own track for 1 minute, and then we have judges that will judge them, and then they come back for another surprise round where they didn't get to pick the song. We pick it for them. It's a big surprise. Rob knows the songs. I do not. He's not telling. And then the winner will go to San Francisco. We pay for that flight. And then that winner gets to go to Oulu, Finland for the World Championships. So it's a fun thing, but it's also got a lot of merit and seriousness to it, but we have fun doing it. It's just a world of fun.
Oh my goodness, it's fun to watch too. That's for sure.
Awesome, yes. We need groupies.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we'll be your groupies. I know this is also raising money, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So last summer, Rob went to do a performance for Free Guitars for Kids. Came back and told us he loved it. He loves their mission for just allowing kids who wouldn't otherwise be able to have a guitar to get a guitar in their hands and let them explore their creativity and their passion. And so he sold us on the idea. We partnered with them, did a little checking beforehand. They're a 501c. They have distributed 4,000 guitars throughout the nation since 2020. And they also are the founders of Free Bikes for Kids.
Yes, they do a lot of good work. We've had them on our many times.
Yeah, so we're like, we want to do good too. We love music, so here we are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Rob, tell us a little bit about how did you get into this?
It was in 2006. I was scrolling online. I seen air guitar competition in Minneapolis. When's this? It's in 2 weeks. I ran into the other room and said, "Do you think I should do this?" And like, yeah, no brainer. Yeah, I've been pretty much air guitaring out of the womb.
Yeah.
So it was,
you were made for this.
Yes.
We cannot wait to see your performance
it's
in
going
a
to
few
be
minutes.
epic. All right, we've got our tattoo sleeves on,
Wait,
Jason.
what?
Yeah, because we've got a great show. The 3rd annual Minneapolis Air Guitar Competition. It's this Saturday at Route 47 in Fridley. Now hold on to your hats. Here's the Lost Heartbreak.